Peace, 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 peace to you on this beautiful Friday, this holy day. One second here. Let me send this out real quick. Bam. Peace, 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 peace. I think we're gonna start it with a little song, if you will. What is the song today? I think that's the song. Yeah. Got to start it with the holy breath, man. It's my personal favorite song right now. And we'll let folks get a second to come on in.
It's so funny being back on this planet, man. It's been such a long time. I'm coming back from Atlanta. It's just like, hey, ooh, hey, yeah, ooh, yeah. I'm back from Atlanta. You see, I was born on Earth, but I'm not from here. I am from the stars. I'm not talking boulevard. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah. I say I was born on Earth, but I'm not from here. I am from the stars. I'm not talking boulevard. Oh, no. You say I am from the sky. I am from the moon side. We was born with our creator. And then we fell. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh yes we fell. Oh yes we fell. Oh my God. Listen up. And all is mine. All is mine. All is mine. All is mine. You see, we can make a heaven. You know why? We made our hell. Just look around. And can't you tell? Okay, be careful what you think. And be careful how you move. And be careful what you say. You know why? These words are spells. Yeah, they cast the spells. But listen well, okay. You see, we are not the body. And we are not the flesh. It's life after death. And this thing right here is just a test. To reconnect, the holy breath. Okay, I said I was born on earth, but I'm not from here. Yeah, I am from the stars. I'm not talking boulevard. Oh no, I keep telling you I'm not from here. Yeah, you see, I was born on earth, but I'm not from here. Yeah, I am from the stars. I'm not talking boulevard. Oh no. Yeah, see, I am from the sky, the sun of Most High. The sun of Most High. Oh my God, praise the Lord. I am with the body, we are not the flesh. It's life after death. This life right here is just a test. Oh yes, you're blessed.
All right. Holy breath, man. That's a jam. That's a little jammy jam. Peace, 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 peace. I'm Rami Salam Mel. I thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Moors need to stop being hypocrites. Oh, what are you talking about now, Rami? What are you talking about now? Well, first, it is a holy day. It's Friday. So I would like to say much love to you for this day. Much love to you if you're tapping in on this day. Please study Noble Drew Ali. Study the teaching. Study the information that he has brought to us. I dropped in a couple links online. If you don't have the physical copy, you can read the Holy Quran. That's the hermetic.com link, and then the moorishkingdom.tripod.com link. That is to what is known as Moorish literature. That's just basically a collection of writings that was outside of the Quran. Um, so it's really important that we study both the Quran and also the Moorish literature. Don't necessarily just think that Noble Drew Ali only brought the Quran. Very important that we study some of the things that he said outside, or some of the things outside of the Quran, Circle 7. Um, oh man, it is jumping in the chat. Thank you, peace, 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 peace. Um, for everybody in here, let me call some names out real quick. Hakeem Rashid L, Matt Trees, Cali Money 23, Noble Nael, Adrian Williams, Tonis Bay. All right, all right. Ooh, oh wow. We have a accusation. Let me just address that right there. You lost me when you threatened your own brother. My hope is that you repented so. Adrian Williams. Um, you just came right out of left field with that one. Um, put simply, didn't threaten anybody. I'm for love instead of hate. I'm for peace instead of war, instead of killing. So I don't even know what you're talking about, but it's all love. We're going to get to the topic of today. The Moors need to stop being hypocrites. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that, Rami? From my experience, from what I've seen, being in this movement the past, let's call it 7 years, I've seen far too many Moors, Moorish Americans, Moorish Muslims, um, members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I've seen far too many of us, include myself in that, telling people what to do, saying you need to do this and you need to do that. But you need to listen to what Noble Drew Ali said. You need to follow Noble Drew Ali's teachings. But we ourselves are not following Noble Drew Ali's teachings. Let me explain. Just yesterday, I seen a brother on the Facebook calling our people Negroes with a fez on in his profile. I said, I said, why would you be calling our people Negroes, especially with a fez on? His response was, well, some of them prefer to be called that. So what am I supposed to do? Or something, and I don't know, but what am I supposed to do? But that was the gist of what he was saying. Is, hey, man, some of them prefer to be called Negroes, so I'm just doing what they prefer. Come on, family. If you got the fez on, if you got that L or that Bay on your name, I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive that you know that we should not be calling ourselves Negroes or blacks or coloreds. It says it in the book. It says it in Noble Drew Ali's teachings. We got to be the example. And just on a real basic level, outside of this, just on a matter of respect, why would you call our people that, man? You know what I mean? I have children. I don't want some more calling my son or my daughter a Negro. What? Who are you? What are you doing? More than that. You know what I mean? And this is something personal for me because I was working with a brother. And well, no, I can't even avoid addressing the names. You know, this piece is personal to me because I reached out to this brother Cujo behind the scenes, you know what I mean, in private, asking him to please stop calling our people niggers. His response is, well, they need tough love. They not, you know, they need tough love. They not listening, da-da-da-da-da. And I expressed that I can understand your perspective on that, but that's not helpful. That's not achieving our goal. That's not love instead of hate. Especially as a Moorish American, as a teacher, as a leader, if you call yourself a grand sheik, You can't be calling our people niggers. That is so backwards. To someone that may not understand any of this, they click on a link and they see you calling our people. They like, man, I'm not listening to the Moors. What are they? How you telling us we need to do this, and you calling us the things that our oppressors is calling us? How does that look on a realistic level? You can try to excuse it, but let me put it to you this way: was Noble Drew Ali calling our people niggers? No. In fact, he told us that we are not those things. We are not niggers. We are not Negroes. We are not coloreds. That those names were placed on us to enslave us. So why would you continue to do that? Let me get into the teachings real quick. We're gonna get into the Quran. We're gonna get into the Quran real quick. Chapter 3. Yeah, I'll get into chapter 3 real quick. Chapter 3, line 11. Yeah, lines 11, 12, and 13. The lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. The higher self is the mother of virtues and the harmonies of life. I'll read that one more time. The lower self, we got two selves. We got our higher self and our lower self. The lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. It's key, that last part, everything that harms. When you are out there calling people niggers, Negroes, down talking people because they still may believe or perceive themselves to be black, and you judging and you looking down on our people, when we do that, Moors, we're not only being hypocrites, but we being in our lower self, according to the teachings, because that's harmful. Those names allude to slavery. We not, why are we doing that? That's not help. That's not uplifting our people. That's not being loving. You can try to make excuses, but the fact is, Noble Drew Ali wasn't calling our people those names. He told us not to do that. And Noble Drew Ali is a universal prophet. A universal, came for everybody, but specifically for the so-called black people, so-called Negroes, because we needed him the most. So then how can we say that we are honoring Noble Drew Ali, say that we are following his teachings, say that we are part of the movement he created, and going against what he said? That's hypocritical. It's not correct. It's not right. It's not honorable. And that ain't on nobody else. You can't point the finger at the NOI. You can't point the finger at the Hebrew Israelites. You can't point the finger at any Christian ministers. You can't point the finger at the U.S. government. They didn't make you say that. You chose to say that. We chose to say that. We have to hold ourselves accountable and be better, be our higher self, not our lower self. Continuing. The lower self is rich in promises, but poor in blessedness and peace. It offers pleasure, joy, and satisfying gain, but it gives unrest, misery, and death. I'm going to read that again. The lower self is rich in promises, but poor in blessedness and peace. It offers pleasure, joy, and satisfying gain, but gives unrest, misery, and death. Let me speak about that a little bit more. You may have seen Moors on the YouTube or on Facebook, and they talking about how you can get out of jail free. If you declare yourself a Moor, those laws can't touch you. You may have heard Moorish Americans say, hey, when you proclaim your nationality, you don't have to pay taxes. Nah, you good. You ain't got to pay no taxes. That is rich in promises, but poor in blessedness. They're offering pleasure, joy, and satisfying gain. But in reality, it gives unrest, misery, and death. You may have Moors that you see that says, hey, if you just proclaim your nationality, you can go just take this home. You can go take this house wherever you want to live because this is ours. And you ain't got to pay no rent. You ain't got to pay nothing. It's just yours. You could just take it. Rich in promises, but poor in blessedness. It offers pleasure and joy and satisfying gain, but gives unrest, misery, and death. Did Noble Drew Ali say that you can go out there and just claim some home as yours and take it and that's it? If so, please show me where he said that. Because I've never seen him say that. We have to stop offering the pleasure, the joy, the satisfying gain. We have to stop offering the things from our lower self. Yeah, but Rami, you studied the law and you know. Okay, we'll get into the law. I got you. Are we following what Noble Drew Ali said before we get into anything else? Are we following the laws and the things that Noble Drew Ali laid down within our own movement? Let's look there first. Shall we? Supreme Grand Council. Shall we? That's law for Moorish Americans, for the Moorish Science Temple of America. Are we following the law? No. So before you get to trying to talk about, oh, we can apply this and we ain't got to pay for taxes and this because of this and this and this. Oh, well, wait a minute. Let's first get to ourselves. Are we right within our organization, within our movement? Are we following our Constitution? Because we got one, a divine Constitution. Are we following that? No, we are not. Are we following the laws that Noble Drew Ali laid down? No, we are not. So we need to stop offering all of that extra stuff and get ourselves right first. Make sure that we are following the laws that Noble Drew Ali put forth so that we can govern ourselves. Because if we don't do that, we're hypocrites. And bigger than that, we sending people on dummy missions. You misleading people. You're giving people half pieces of information. You're giving people things that sound good, but end up getting everybody caught up in stuff that we're not supposed to be caught up in. You get people labeled as quote-unquote sovereign citizens, and we are not that at all. We have nothing to do with that. But that's what happens when we try to take what Noble Drew Ali said and put our own spin and do our own thing, instead of following what Noble Drew Ali said, instead of following what a universal prophet said, laid down for us, told us what to do, showed us what to do. But we want to do our own thing. That's not right. Especially when you say, oh, but I'm honors to Noble Drew Ali, but you're going to do whatever you want to do. That's not honor. We got to be real with ourselves. And then on the outside, when we take a step back, if you look from the outside, if it was someone that was just coming into this movement, it's bogus. We look bogus. Yeah, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. But then when you look at the proof, you don't see it nowhere. We still in the conditions that we've been in. We still stagnant as ever. We're not thriving as a community. We are not united. We don't own, we don't have whole cities, whole towns where we govern ourselves, where you can see everybody in the town. They have all their property and their homes, and they're doing exactly what, because we talking it, but we not walking it. It's hypocritical. Let me take you there though. Let me take you there though. Because it's in the book. Where's that line in the book? 1 second. I got the notes here. Chapter 8. No, that's not the one I was looking for. 1 second. I had the notes. Got a little carried away talking. There we go. Chapter 4. There we go. Chapter 4. Line 15. The man who stands upon the corners of the paths and points the way, but does not go, is just a pointer, and a block of wood can do the same. The teacher treads the way. On every span of ground, he leaves his footprints clearly cut, which all can see and be assured that he, the master, went that way. Again, this is from the Quran, Circle 7, Chapter 4, line 15 and 16. The man who stands upon the corners of the paths and points the way but does not go is just a pointer. Meaning, Moors, Moorish Americans, Moorish Muslims, members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Grand Sheiks, Grand Governors, etc., everybody in this movement. If you are telling people you need to proclaim and declare your nationality, you need to honor Noble Drew Ali, we need to, if you're doing all of that, but you not going the way, you're like a block of wood. You're just talking the talk. Oh yeah, we got to stop pointing and talking, and we have to start doing, we got to start walking the walk. We have to tread the way and leave our footprints clearly cut so everybody can see this is the way we're going. And this is the biggest thing. We ain't got to make up some path. We just got to follow the path that Noble Drew Ali already set for us. But right now, in this present moment in time, in 2021, we have not been doing that. If you say I'm incorrect, I just challenge you to show me the Supreme Grand Council. Show me their activity, clearly cut, which all can be assured to see. All can see and be assured. Please, just show me that. I've been asking for the past 6 years. Been asking any and everybody that claims to be a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, anyone that has an official title, all the Grand Sheiks. I emailed all the temples, all the grand governors and all these people that are official, the teachers, people that's on the internet and YouTube, this, that, and the third. They be telling people about laws and you need to follow Noble Drew Ali. Well, what about the Supreme Grand Council? And then it gets super quiet. That's hypocritical. We have to stop that. That's not productive. You're not being real. We're not being truthful. Love, truth. It's one of our our principles, the 5 principles. We're not being truthful. Not with other people and not with ourselves. Oh man. Got you. Mikhail Wilson, UCC plus following the laws allow you to be free of tyranny, not malicious use. Before we even get to the UCCs, respect. Before we even get to that, let's just first deal with the things and the laws that Noble Drew Ali established. As Moorish Americans, how can we try to do everything else and we haven't even been doing what Noble Drew Ali asked us to do? Oh, got you. Got you, got you, got you. Peace, peace, peace. Okay, my fault. I was in my zone. I'm trying to catch up. You're right. It's hard to relate to the scattered culture of today. Um, oh my goodness. I'm just gonna skip that one, man. That's ridiculous. Did Sa choose to be defined as a Moor? I don't see an L or a Bay. Here's the thing about being Moors. It's very much like being Chinese. It's not something that you can say, today I think I would like to be Chinese. Yeah, today I'm a choose to be Chinese. It's not that. It's not a club that you subscribe to and then, oh, okay, I put on the fez, now I'm a Moor. If I take off the fez, I'm choosing not to be a Moor. That's not what this is. We are Moors because that's who we are. That's our identity. Negro, so-called black, colored, African American, nigger, Afro American, Black American, melanated American, um, uh, if I'm missing any of the other colored, did I say colored? Colored American. Those terms were placed on us, but we are not those terms. You could call, and forgive me for the language, but you could call a Chinese person a yellow man. That doesn't make him a yellow. We're putting that label onto that person, but that person and those people have an identity before that label was placed on them in that disrespectful way. The same with, let me take it away from that. The same with Latinx. You could put that label onto people, but the truth is that those people have an identity. They have nationalities: Guatemalan, Nicaraguan, El Salvadorian, Chilean, Brazilian, Mexican. Those are the identities. And if you would like, you can through that go back in time and through history and see what those names connect to further back in history. Yes, you can do that. But that's not what we're talking about. So when it comes to Moors and the Sa choose to be defined as a Moor, I don't see an L or a Bay. Before I had the name Rami Salam El and I was calling myself black, that didn't mean I was black. I was misinformed. That label was placed on me and I was using that label, but I'm not that label. Sa is not black no matter how much he believes himself to be so. Now, furthermore, with Sa specifically, the issue with that brother is that he knows the difference. He knows very well the difference between Moor and black and the issues that come with that. And Sa chose to be divisive, chose to be misleading, chose to try to pit our people against each other For what? For views, for likes, for money, for fame. What? I don't know exactly. That's his choice. And that's what I took issue with Sonetta, and what I take issue with any of the people that I seen. Brother Polite, David Banner, any of those conscious community people. Anybody that's professing to be speaking and teaching our people. I take issue when you know better and you've shown that you are aware and you're conscious of the difference. You've shown that you have the information and the knowledge and you comprehend the difference between a Moor and a black, and then you choose to mislead. Now, my issue, my problem with that I had, the way I went about it was not the best way. I could have chosen a different way. I could have been more kind with my language. I could have been more loving and not as frustrated. I can admit that. Why I'm working on that. Why you don't see me going after people anymore. Why I continue to say love instead of hate. Because being aggressive like that and being frustrated like that, even if I'm correct, even if I'm right, it's not necessarily righteous. Peace to Lauren Hill. She taught me that you can be right, but you may not be righteous, and it won't connect. It won't help uplift the people. So to the people throwing the, oh, son, yeah. And that's being honorable. That's being truthful. And this is what Moors got to do. We have to stop being hypocrites and acting like we're high and mighty, like we don't make mistakes, like we can't correct ourselves. It's all right to make a mistake. It's not all right to realize that you made a mistake and continue to make it just because of your ego and your pride. That ain't right. I still believe Sonetta is wrong if he's calling our people black or colored or African American or whatever. If he is still being divisive and trying to pit this group against that group. I still believe that's incorrect. I just don't have to be aggressive in pointing that out. It's a different way that we can go about it. Hence what I'm doing right now. Bruce Banks, I've been watching, listening, and learning from you for years and other master teachers. All I see is great division. Bruce Banks, all you see is great division. Hey, if that's what you see, that's what you see. I'm not going to argue with you on that. What's the solution, though? I know for Moorish Americans, which is what I'm pointing out right now, the solution isn't continuing to call our people Negroes or niggers. That's not helpful. Being misleading, doing our own thing, and not following the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, that's not helpful. That doesn't unite us. I can't speak for other movements. I can't speak for other people. What I can do is keep asking our people, specifically Moorish Americans that know better, to get back to what Noble Drew Ali was teaching, to stop being hypocritical, to love instead of hate. And to that point, 1 second, where's that line at? To that point, hold on, bear with me, here we go. Chapter 8, Jesus reveals to the people their sinful ways. line 11 through 13. Well, actually, I'll read line 11 through 14. When man honors man, he honors Allah. And what man does for man, he does for Allah. And you must bear in mind that when man harms in thought or word or deed another man, he does a wrong to Allah. Let me read that one again. you must bear in mind, we must bear in mind, Moors, Moorish Americans, Muslims, members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we must bear in mind that when man harms in thought, in word, or in deed another man, he does a wrong to Allah. And if you would serve Allah who speaks within the heart, just serve your near of kin and those who are no kin, the stranger at your gate, and the foe who seeks to do you harm. If you would serve Allah, if we would serve Allah, we have to serve those that are near of kin, those who are no kin, the strangers and the foes who seeking to do us harm. Assist the poor, help the weak, do harm to none, and covet not what is not yours. Do harm to none in thought, word, or deed. So we have to be very careful with what we say, how we act, and even what we think. Moorish Americans. This applies to us. We cannot be hypocritical. We can't say that we're honoring Noble Drew Ali and we don't follow the teachings. If we're calling our people Negroes or niggers, that's harming them with our words. If we are looking down on our people because they still believe that they're black, that's harming our people with our thoughts. When we create other movements, we try to do our own thing, just ignoring what Noble Drew Ali said, but taking some of the information and trying to create our own little movement. And then we get people, yeah, you should sign up and you should be a part of my movement. See, because that movement it's not doing what it needs to do, so we gonna do what we gotta do. That's harming people with our actions. We have to stop that. It really is harming, it's doing a wrong to Allah. Please don't mistake that. Don't forget that part. Because that's what it's really about. This is the Moorish Divine and National Movement, little pamphlet that I got. And in it, it has a divine warning by the Prophet for the nations. I, the Prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind of their forefathers, divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine and national movement. And through it, they and their children can receive divine rights unmolested by other citizens. A little bit further. The word Negro deludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word color deludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring their fathers and their mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. Coming to the end of this speech, I, the Prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States, because they know it is not the true and divine way. And without understanding, they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically. gonna stop right there on that one. We have to stop blaming other people, especially if you know that you're a Moor, especially if you know that you're a Moorish American, especially if you're saying you're honoring Noble Drew Ali. Being disrespectful to other people and our own people is not the way. Calling our people Negroes or niggers is not the way. Trying to create your own movement and do your own thing is not the way. And it's hypocritical. And it's counterproductive. It isn't helpful. It isn't uplifting fallen humanity. That's why we are still in this position that we are in this condition that we are in right now in 2021. That's why, not because of other people, not because of the U.S. government, not because of some minister that was teaching you, oh, you just need to follow Jesus, not because of the Nation of Islam, not because of the Hebrew Israelites, not because of Sarnetta, not because of Brother Polite, not because of nobody else but Moors, Moorish Americans. We have to look ourselves in the mirror and we have to admit that we have not been following the teachings that Noble Drew Ali established for us. It's not on anybody else. It's on us. Read this for a second. Here we go. This is coming from the Oral Statements and Prophecies book. And this book is essentially, if you're familiar with Hadith, it's similar to that, and it's in that it is a collection of statements that other Moorish Americans have said that the Prophet said when the Prophet was still alive. And if you don't know, Prophet Noble Drew Ali was alive and on this earth from 1886 to 1929, just to give you a reference in time. Number 107, it says, Brother O. Peyton of Temple number 4 and 25 said that the Prophet said, there are going to be new Moors that are going to come in with their eyes wide open, seeing and knowing, that are going to take you old Moors, seat you in the back. Here's the most important part of this. They're going to take the old Moors and seat you in the back and carry out my law. It's not just about new Moors coming in and moving old Moors out the way. Some people may have heard this. That last part is key. And carrying out my law. Another one that I wanted to read. I should have highlighted. Number 145 says, the Holy Prophet said, imitate I, the Prophet. Also, he said, Moorish leaders, live a life of love so that you will be loved as I, the Prophet, is loved. It doesn't say, Moorish leaders, you need to give people tough love, because I, the Prophet, was giving people tough love. It doesn't say, imitate whoever you want to imitate, Moorish leaders. Imitate I, the Prophet. And again, did the Prophet ever call us niggers? Did the Prophet ever call us Negroes? Did the Prophet look down on our people because they didn't realize that We didn't realize that we were Moors and we were calling ourselves so-called black people or so-called colored people. No, the prophet came to uplift us, to teach us to learn how to love instead of hate. We need to imitate that and not imitate something else, especially if you're calling yourself a Moorish leader or a Moorish teacher or just a Moorish American. That's your obligation. That's our obligation. Was that the last one I wanted to? I think that's the last thing I wanted to read on that. Praise God. Last one I'm going to read. Number 192. Sister A. Brown L. One time for Sister A. Brown L. of Temple number 4 and number 25. Said that the Holy Prophet said, if your brother does something wrong to you, don't call him a nigger. Call him a dirty Moor. So even if this person is doing just some wrong stuff, you know what I mean? Even if this person is just being completely foul, even then, the prophet still said you're supposed to be calling them Moors. Maybe call them dirty. They need to clean up their act, clean themselves up. True indeed. But don't call them a nigger. Don't call them a Negro. Understand what's going on, man. Ah, man, I was going to close the book up, but let me read this one. Let me read this one. Yeah, I'm going to close this one up. Number 204. The Holy Prophet said, a Moorish leader is not to get up to speak under the influence of liquor or any harmful motive that will seek to break up the families of men. Any liquor or harmful motive. If your motive is harmful, if your motive is to divide people, if your motive is to disrespect people, don't do that. Because we are to love instead of hate. We are to uplift fallen humanity. We're not to push fallen humanity down deeper into the mud, deeper into the darkness. That's not what we're here for. That's not our role. That's not our duty or obligation. All right. Esoteric soul. Are Moors U.S. citizens? Because I'm confused at this point. To be quite honest with you, that question is a little bit challenging to answer at this point. And I don't want to get too far off of the point of what I'm making. Moors are Moors. Let's start there. Moors are Moors. Moors are human beings. Part of it, and specifically, so-called black people, we have a nationality. It's not just simply Moors. Our nationality is Moorish American because we're descendants of Moroccans and born in America. This is according to what Noble Drew Ali taught. Now, whether or not Moors are U.S. citizens, that general statement, some may be, some may not be, because you could be a Moor and be living in Ghana. You could be a Moor and be living in Russia, and you'll be a Russian citizen, or a Ghanaian citizen, or a South African citizen. I'm just giving you examples. But the focus of this class right here, this lesson right here, is at the very core. at the very core of what I'm saying. Moors have to stop being hypocritical, have to stop telling people to do one thing, but we not even following what we're supposed to be doing. Um, man, Matt Trees, any thoughts on the 13th Son? My thoughts on the 13th Son, I was asked about this organization called USAR. This applies to the Moorish American Consulate. This applies to the rise of the Moors, to Canaan land Moors, to Washita Moors, to Amexa Moors, or Aboriginal Moors, or any sort of any and all quote unquote Moorish group, any of them that you can see out there, that anybody that's claiming to be a Moor, that's claiming to be a Moorish American, um, any and all of them. Okay, this what I'm saying applies to any and all of them because Noble Drew Ali was a universal prophet that taught us about us being Moorish Americans, us being Moors, and any of those groups doing what they want to do and not honoring and abiding by and following the teachings and more importantly the laws that Noble Drew Ali laid down, we are in the wrong. You could try to spin it and slice it however you want. Those people and us as a collective are not doing what we're supposed to do. And I'm saying this because from the teachings, it speaks about this is chapter 47. These are holy and divine law. These holy and divine laws are from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the uniting of the Moorish. In this book, it says the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, because that was what it was called before it got switched to the Moorish Science Temple of America, just to be clear. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meetings and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Here's the key. And create their own laws and customs. Create your own laws and customs. How you want to do it, okay, no problem. In conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. The subordinate, yeah, you can, what I'm saying is not to, we just have to be, subservient and we have to just obey what Noble Drew Ali said, and we can't think of doing anything more. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, according to the teachings, create your own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet in the Grand Temple. And look up what the word conjunction, CONJUNCTION. Look up what that word means in law. Look up what that word means. And really understand the definition. In conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple, I, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatic of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day which is sure to come. I'm going to keep reading to the end of the chapter, actually. The time has come that every nation must worship under his own vine and fig tree. Every tongue must confess his own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not the creed and principles of their forefathers. The principles of our forefathers: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We, did not honor that, disobeyed that, suffered slavery. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America who were Moorish descent because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods of Europe, whom they knew nothing of. Last little piece here. Come all ye Asiatic of America and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed that you will learn to love instead of hate. We're supposed to learn of our forefathers' ancient divine creed that we will learn to love instead of hate. We are trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourselves with the families of nations. We honor all the true and divine prophets. And on that note, that's another thing. That's another thing. Especially Moors, Moorish Americans, Muslims, we cannot be disrespectful to other people's prophets. We have to stop being disrespectful to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or Jesus, peace be upon him, or any of the prophets. Stop looking down or feeling like or speaking as if Noble Drew Ali is better than other prophets. That's not what this is. That's not honoring all true and divine prophets. I was working with a brother and he tried to express to me there's no reason, just so I can show you, he tried to express to me, a Moorish American, study Noble Drew Ali and say he honors the prophet. He tried to express to me that there's no reason we need to read this. We have our prophet and we have a Quran. We don't need to read this. But in the Quran itself, it says that we honor all true and divine prophets. How could you honor Prophet Muhammad if you don't even know what he was bringing? How do you do that? How, Sway? We have to stop being hypocritical. Get into the Bible. Stop trying to talk down about the people that are still in the church. Noble Drew Ali said, it's somewhere in that the prophecies book. I don't feel like getting it. It says some of our best Moors are still in the church. Humble yourself, Moors, Muslims. Stop looking down on our people and anybody. That's not what we're about. That's not what this is about. We are uplifting fallen humanity. Esoteric Soul, I got this question. Also, do you have a Moorish Science Temple of America charter? If not, you should think of getting one. I think that's the best way. I think that's the best way is for us to create our own temples and unite our own circles. Respectfully, it's one temple. We don't need to, and this is another error on my part. Let me be completely honest. This channel, IAMHH Temple, International Asiatic Moorish Hip Hop Temple, a subordinate temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America, created my own laws and customs in conjunction with the Grand Temple. This is what was the thought in me even creating that. The problem is when I started studying more, when I started really getting into it and making sure that I was going about things the correct way, I found out about this little thing called the Supreme Grand Council, which is a group within the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Noble Drew Ali set up. They're supposed to clarify any and all sorts of issues, like some of the questions you asked at Esoteric Soul. Like, how do we proclaim our nationality? What is the process? How do we get property? How do we get a home, as Moorish Americans? How do we operate in this world legally and lawfully? Those kinds of questions, the real technical stuff. I found, ah, this is the group that's supposed to make it clear for everybody. They're at the top. And then they make it clear to all the Moorish leaders and the people, officials of the different temples, the subordinate temples. And then those people cascade it down to the members. And thus our whole nation is informed and aware. And we're all moving on one accord. That's governance. That's how it's supposed to operate. I get so many questions about, I don't know who do I go to get a nationality card? How do I proclaim my nationality, Rami? What's the way? I don't have that answer. And there's no individual that's standing out here right now to this day in 2021 that has the answer. Do you know why? Because we haven't been doing what Noble Drew Ali said. He established the Supreme Grand Council. And where is it? They will be the ones to clarify all sorts of these issues. All of them. Don't believe me? Look it up for yourself. And this, I'll put the link back again so you could see it if you missed it earlier. That link I just dropped in there. Click that link. Search that website for Supreme Grand Council and just read it for yourself. Don't believe me. I don't want you to believe me, because if you believe in me, you don't know for yourself. Man knows not by being told. Not my words, it's from here. So, again, in closing, Moors, we have to stop being hypocritical. And this is a challenge to everybody watching this. Go ask your grand sheik, your grand governor, the people that you watch on YouTube, the people that's commented on Facebook and IG, all the Moors that you may know that's rocking affairs and they saying Islam and honors to Noble Drew Ali, just ask them a simple question. Hey, man. Hey, Mr. Bay. Hey, Mrs. L. What's up with the Supreme Grand Council? And just be quiet and see what they say. That's it. And you will see for yourself the hypocrisy. I'm telling you this, but I don't want you to just believe me. See for yourself. Don't keep asking me. If you look on YouTube, you just type in Supreme Grand Council, you'll see the videos that I've done year after year addressing this issue. But why though? Why do you keep talking about this issue, Rami? Because until we address this issue, nothing else is going to get solved. We will remain stagnant. We will remain divided. We will remain oppressed. Until we address this issue, we're not going to move forward. There will be no clarity. There will be none of that. All the good stuff that you hear Morris talking about, it's not going to happen. Because that's part of the governance. We've got to govern ourselves, right? Well, how can we do that if we're ignoring the laws that Noble Drew Ali laid down? We can't. We just hypocrites and we just pointing the way, telling people what they need to do. And I'm not trying to be a block of wood. You feel me? All right, so that was, in terms of the hypocrisy, man, that was really what I wanted to address, because I've been really frustrated. Did I read that? I've been really frustrated with just the actions of Moors and just check 1 second, make sure I read that. Yeah. I've been frustrated by the action of Moors and the hypocrisy, man. I don't like I don't like that. I don't like us being hypocrites. I don't like seeing Moors and people in fezzes calling our people Negroes and niggers and being disrespectful and looking down and having this ego and this arrogance about themselves that reflects on us all, as if we just know better and we just but when you really look at our movement, come on, fam. You know what I mean? If we are being real, look at society right now. People are suffering all over the world, especially our people here in the US. And instead of being honest with ourselves and correcting ourselves and getting ourselves right and really being the people that we're supposed to be and truly uplifting humanity, instead of doing that, we playing games and and and, and playing dress up. You know what I mean? Making it look good and sound good. Going through the motions and trying to look the part instead of being the part. Stop pointing the way and walk the walk, Moors. That's what we got to be on. Moorish Americans, Muslims, members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It's on you. Yes, you. It's on us. The old way wasn't working, so it's on us to make a change. Come on now. Stop being passive. Be active. With the love, though. You can't be active with all that hate in your heart. You cannot do it that way. It's not going to happen. Love, instead of, I know, that love stuff is corny. The love is not going, yes, it is going to save us. The love is what's going to save us. That's the transforming power. If you don't have the love in it, nothing else is going to work. And it's just that simple. Now, you could take that or you could leave it alone. You could take that. You could leave it alone. I didn't put that out there. That's what Noble Drew Ali said. Right on the back. You ain't even got to open the book. Just flip to the back. Know yourself and your Father God, Allah, that you may learn to love instead of hate. Oh my goodness. Right there on the back for you. Ain't even got to do too much reading. Right on the back. The first principle of our 5 principles. We ain't even got, that's the coldest part about this all, and I'm going to close out. We ain't even got a gigantic Bible, the Quran. They got all sorts of stuff you got to read and know. You know what I mean? The Bhagavad Gita, that's a big book too. We got a little pamphlet, man. We got a little pamphlet. It's quick chapters, man. We got 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Love instead of hate. And we still not listening. Boy, are we stubborn. Goodness gracious, man. All right. And on that, I'm going to close out the prayer. I don't know if you heard that. I'm fasting today. Boy, my stomach is like, bruh, you need to chill out. Thank you for watching. Most importantly, study what Noble Drew Ali taught. Study the laws and the teachings and the wisdom and the guidance that Noble Drew Ali brought us. Because he's a universal prophet. Universal, sent for everybody, but especially was sent for the so-called black people, the so-called Negroes, the so-called African Americans. Because we needed him the most. Love instead of hate. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Those are the keys right there. In a prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Mother of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is our protector, our guide, and our salvation, by night and by day, through our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and all our prophets. Thank you. Much love to you. Keep shining. Remember, love is the key. Love instead of hate. That's the way.